MrBeast is one of the most influential YouTubers on the platform, with 95 million subscribers on his main channel and a further 67 million more across his 4 other channels. He has truly solidified himself as one of YouTube's biggest personalities. Furthermore, MrBeast has shown himself to have ambitions beyond just the internet, expanding his business into the fast food industry, the confectionery industry, and philanthropy. This guy is basically Elon Musk, but more charismatic and without children behaving like blithering idiots. However, as we have all come to find out at some point during our lives, sometimes our idols are not safe from scrutiny, and a couple of years ago, every single 8-year-old's beloved magician got into a sizable controversy following allegations of aggressive behavior towards his employees. This is the story of the MrBeast allegations. The story begins, as with all stupid drama on the internet, on Twitter, on the 5th of October 2019, when a Twitter user by the name of Matt Turner, who worked for MrBeast as an editor between 2018 and 2019, made a post in which he alleged that working for MrBeast was the most mentally draining time of his life. Turner alleged that he would get yelled at, bullied, called mentally retarded and replaceable by MrBeast every day, which resulted in him having mental breakdowns day after day. Furthermore, Turner claimed that he was never given credit for his work, and instead MrBeast would credit someone else, although he failed to provide any specific examples. And while this did create some concern, several people online were quick to point out that Turner had previously spoken very highly of his time working for MrBeast, saying how his editing work was praised, and that after he was let go, MrBeast recommended Turner for a position of editor for the esports team Soar Gaming, continued paying for his luxury apartment rent, and even gave him severance pay.
They told me that they admired my work ethic, everything was good about what I did, and I really didn't do anything wrong. So they asked me my final decision if I still plan on doing other things in the fall, and I was like yes, and they were like, well, because of that, we're gonna let you go. However, they did say some other things which were so kind of them. So what they did right after that, after they let me go, they said, alright, so we pay for the apartment that you live in right now down the road with other people. MrBeast paid for my rent every month when I lived in North Carolina. And he said, alright, you can live here as long as you want. You can literally stay in this pretty expensive apartment just until you feel comfortable leaving. They're still paying me right now. I'm still technically working. I'm not gonna give any numbers or anything. They said we're still gonna pay you for a while, and that is basically funding my trip to backpack across Asia, which is so insane.
If you haven't gathered it already, this guy was bullshitting harder than George Bush when proposing the invasion of Iraq to Congress. Turner's case wasn't helped by the fact that John Swan, that scumbag I want to forget even more than the existence of furries, posted a screenshot in which Turner was responding to a tweet Keemstar had sent to another editor named FlyDoesYT, who made a video attempting to expose MrBeast for being a bad employer, writing, "As the guy who MrBeast hired instead of Fly, and the person who Fly talked about in his videos, I can state that MrBeast treats everyone on his team, including me, with high amounts of respect. It is a super high energy work environment. To be honest, never had a better job." Despite all this evidence showing that Turner was an even bigger liar than Amber Heard, he uploaded a video in which he reiterated his claims that MrBeast is a scumbag behind closed doors. One example that Turner gave was when he was editing a video titled "I Gave Away $500,000, where he was asked to compile every single clip of MrBeast giving away money so that it would add up to $500,000. However, Turner counted that throughout every single video that he could find, MrBeast only gave away a total of $410,000, meaning that MrBeast was clickbaiting, which to be honest is not such a bad crime. And when Turner reported back to MrBeast and told him, hey, this doesn't add up to 500k, he was told to start over and had the entire project file deleted. This happened twice, and after the second time, Turner tried to talk to a friend who also worked for MrBeast, only for the latter to call him a retard and order him to go back to work.
I specifically walked to a good friend who worked there at the Times office about 30 seconds away. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do right now. I can't edit this video for another day. And that's when Jimmy hears me talking about how aggravated I'm getting with the situation, and apparently talking his back, which I really wasn't. I just wanted help. He comes in the room and he goes, "You absolute get back in that rumor, I swear to God, Turner.
Turner even provided a photograph of MrBeast apparently deleting the project file, although this evidence lacks veracity, as it's possible that he wasn't even deleting anything. Turner also provided evidence in the form of screenshots posted on his private Twitter account. These tweets, unlike so many others, were made while Turner was working for MrBeast, so they are the most valid piece of evidence we have so far, but unfortunately, that's about it. During an interview with the YouTuber Optimus, Turner was asked why he decided to come out with these allegations, and Turner responded,
"If MrBeast was so mean to you, why did you paint him so positively for so long? I didn't want to paint him negatively for fear of what's happening right now or being blacklisted from the editing community like the last guy to tell the truthful video about this, which in my video there's a screenshot showing his claims were true. Granted, I could have said nothing at the time, but there was a time I'll admit to clout chasing. At the time, I was fine with writing off the coattails of MrBeast's name under positive light. This was over a year ago. I finally worked up the courage to make this statement and provide all of the proof that I can. I've really shot myself in the foot with that video, and I should not have lied with that video, but I did."
Optimus concluded his video on the situation by stating that although Turner provided some evidence to back up his claims, the majority of the evidence doesn't actually back up what he said directly.
At this point though, I just think Turner approached much of the situation in the wrong regard altogether. He brought out all of this without evidence in the first place, just basically bashing MrBeast, and then once everyone had turned against him, he then basically brought out all the evidence, and much of it doesn't really prove anything with any realistic, concrete proof. It's ridiculous.
Overall, the whole situation didn't amount to anything apart from Turner being presented as an utter scumbag. And after this whole situation died down, he continued to clickbait MrBeast's name in his videos, unsurprisingly to the great dislike of his viewers. A year after the whole drama, Turner addressed the criticism in a video titled "My Life 1 Year After Exposing MrBeast." Nice to see that he still hasn't taken his schizophrenia pills.
I worked for this guy and it wasn't great, but that's it. And it became video series and Drama Alert and John Scarce and all of these drama channels picking up this story that never was my intention.
Never have I ever seen someone so skilled at spitting so much bollocks. Like, this is a world record right here. Anyways, Turner got backlash, tried moving on, predictably failed, and everything was fine for MrBeast afterwards, right? Well, not exactly. On May 4th, 2021, the New York Times published an article titled "MrBeast, YouTube star, wants to take over the business world." While most of the article was just about how MrBeast rose to fame and what his ambitions were, there was something else mentioned in this article. The article said that several of MrBeast's former employees, including Turner, had described the working conditions at his companies as far from optimal and rife with favoritism and bullying, while failing to mention that Turner's accusations were pretty much baseless. Another individual who came forward was Nate Robinson, who only lasted a week working for MrBeast due to what he described as unreasonable demands. It turned out that this Nate Anderson was none other than Fidas YT, the individual who initially made accusations of MrBeast being a terrible employer, only to be scrutinized by many people online, including Turner. Despite the publication of the article in a very high-profile magazine, the allegations didn't nearly garner as much attention as they did 2 years prior, as people were intelligent enough to realize that these allegations were pretty much bullshit. So what do I think of the MrBeast allegations? Well, as you might expect, I don't believe that MrBeast is a spawn of Satan who pretends to be wholesome on camera, but acts with about as much kindness as a Russian soldier towards Ukrainians when the cameras go off. Sure, he may not be a perfect employer, and maybe his whole persona is a facade, but from everything that we have seen up until now, the accusations made by Turner and Flydoes YT lack legitimacy and therefore are not believable. So anyway guys, that is the end of this video. Thank you all so much for watching and for all of your support. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, turn notifications on. Please comment because it really helps me out in the algorithm. Also, join my Discord server and follow me on the cesspool known as Twitter. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.